All right, let's look at number 2. It says complete the statement. 1/2 is less than blank. So we're looking for a fraction or a number that is going to be greater than 1/2, so that this statement will be true, that 1/2 is less than the number that we're looking for. So we're given the fractions 8/10, 1/3, 4/9, and 3/12. So in order to compare fractions, it's really best if they have a common denominator, because then it makes it very easy to compare them. You can see pretty easily if it's greater than, less than, or equal to. So if we wanted to start off by comparing 1/2 to 8/10, we want to find the common denominator between halves and tenths. So to find the common denominator, we list the multiples: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Those are the multiples of 2, multiples of 10, 10, 20, 30. And we can stop right there because many of you probably saw right away that their least common multiple is 10. So then if we make equivalent fractions with a denominator of 10, then we'll be able to easily compare. 8/10 we don't need to do much with because it's already built in tenths. But 1/2, what did we do to get from a denominator of 2 to a denominator of 10? We multiplied by 5. So whatever we multiply the denominator by, we have to multiply the numerator by in order to make an equivalent fraction. So 1 times 5 is 5. So now we can compare. We have 5/10 and 8/10. So 1/2 is, the equivalent fraction is 5/10. 8/10 is just 8/10. And then we can ask ourselves, is 1/2 less than 8/10? Is 5/10 less than 8/10? Yes, it is. And so A would be the answer. Now let's see what that looks like by visualizing these fractions. So if this is 1/2 and this is 8/10, and if I were to drag those 8/10 on top of 1/2, we can clearly see that 1/2 is less than 8/10, right? The part that is not shaded in with the yellow behind shows that it's 8/10 is greater than 1/2. Now let's look at the other answer choices here. The other answer choice was 1/3. So is 1/2 less than 1/3? Well, let's just visualize this. Okay, again, if I were to drag that fraction circle over, do you see, even if I were to turn it so it lines up, okay, 1/2 is still going to be greater than 1/3. If we couldn't visualize that, we could always, let me grab my pen tool here, we could always find a common denominator, right? So we have the denominator of 2, the denominator of 3. So the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 3, 6, 9. We can see that they share a common multiple of 6. So then we can make equivalent fractions, 1/2 and 1/3. So if we were to make equivalent fractions with a denominator of 6, 2 times 3 equals 6. Whatever we multiply the denominator by, we multiply the numerator by. So 1 times 3 is 3. And 3 times 2 is 6. So whatever we multiply the denominator by, we multiply the numerator by. 1 times 2 is 2. So in order to compare 1/2, the equivalent fraction would be 3/6. And 1/3, the equivalent fraction with a denominator of 6 would be 2/6. So then we ask ourselves, is 3/6 less than 2/6? No, it is not. And we could see that pretty clearly too when we visualized the size of that fraction, and we could carry it over and see, no, it's not the same. And the same with 4/9 compared with 1/2. Now this one was pretty close. Do you see? It's 1/2 is bigger by just a tiny little slice. Okay, so again, if we were going to make equivalent fractions to compare, here's 1/2, here's 4/9, okay? Common denominator I could use, I'm going to do 18 because I can just clearly see that. So 1/2 with a denominator of 18 and 4/9 with a denominator of 18. Will make it really easy for me to compare those two fractions. So 2 times 9 got me to 18. So whatever I multiply the denominator by, I multiply the numerator by. 1 times 9 is 9. So 1/2, the equivalent fraction would be 9/18. And now let's make an equivalent fraction for 4/9. 9 times 2 got me to 18. So whatever we multiply the denominator by, we multiply the numerator by. 4 times 2 is 8. So 8/18. Wow, look at how close. So is 1/2 less than 4/9? Is 9/18 less than 8/18? No, so that did not complete the statement to make it true. And finally, the last answer choice was 3/12. I'm hoping that you could visualize this, right? Your whole is divided into 12 equal parts. And if you only have 3 of those parts, it's clearly less than half. But again, if you couldn't visualize that, we can figure it out mathematically by making equivalent fractions. So here's 1/2, here's 3/12. I'm going to make both fractions have a denominator of 12. And that way 3/12 will just stay 3/12, right? But 1/2 would become, well, 2 times 6 is 12. So 1 times 6 is 6. So 1/2 would become 6/12. And 6/12 is not less than 3/12. So that is not correct. So when comparing fractions, you want to find common denominators, make equivalent fractions, and then compare. And the other thing you want to do is just think reasonably too. Visualize these fractions in your head. Picture that 3/12 and see how it compares with 1/2.